Today's world is still living with the consequences of World War II, one of the most horrific conflicts in U.S. history. The war is branded in the minds of our veterans. Today, Clarence B. Irwin talks about his encounters and experiences in World War II.
I served overseas in the Pacific 3.5 years without coming home. 2 or 3 months before graduation from the Citadel, that the country might be at war and we might be called to active duty in short notice. And we heard that, but we didn't know what to make of it. But it came to pass about 1 year after we had graduated from college that we were called to active duty, and some of us began to be sent overseas almost immediately. The ward was off the coast of Oahu on the morning that the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor, and shortly before the bombing of Pearl Harbor, the ward sunk a submarine, and they told the headquarters that they were in contact with ashore that they had sunk a Japanese submarine, and they were not believed. It goes down in records of their sinking a Japanese submarine just before Pearl Harbor started.
More than 70 years ago now, the Imperial Japanese Navy attacked the U.S. naval base at Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. Coming on December 7, 1941, the attack was intended as a preventive action to keep America's Pacific Fleet from interfering with military actions of the Empire of Japan. The following day, December 8th, the United States officially declared war on Japan.
This picture was taken on the front steps of the Presidio of California. For me, as a reminder of the war, I thought I'd like to have a souvenir, and I asked him to take my picture holding this newspaper, which is the San Francisco newspaper of the morning after Pearl Harbor.
The day after the Pearl Harbor attack, President Franklin D. Roosevelt addressed a joint session of the United States Congress.
Yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy.
Despite Japan's victory at Pearl Harbor, Admiral Isoroku Yamamoto, commander of the Japanese fleet, stated shortly after the attack, "I fear all we have done is awaken a sleeping giant and fill him with a terrible resolve."
When we went in Pearl Harbor, we saw these ships that had been sunk, and those who were not sunk were badly damaged, and oil was leaking out of the ships all over the waterfront. Oil was still coming out of those ships for quite some time. We stayed in Hawaii for nearly a year, protecting the waterfront in Hawaii by building barbed wire fences and other things to keep an invading enemy from coming ashore. Of course, We didn't really have any Japanese plan to come ashore at that time, but we were prepared for them if they had come. After we'd been in Hawaii for some months, maybe 8 or 10 months, we were told we were going to the combat zone, and we just didn't know what to expect. The Marines had had heavy casualties, and they needed some support. And rather than take them, and they had, with all these casualties, their strength was quite low, so we took over from the Marines, and they were sent home or to hospitals and that sort of thing. I feel that people of my area and people the class that I was in college have done certainly their share or more than their share to serve our country. And I hope that people coming along now, younger people, will do likewise as they grow older and become eligible for military duty. The bombing of Pearl Harbor was a dastardly attempt by the Japanese to conquer America, and they awakened the people of America as they had never been awakened before.
We can never undo the consequences of war. We can only move forward and prepare for what is to come. We can learn from America's heroes of the past, those who helped the USA gain victory and rise again.